5 hours ago on the BBC, UK agrees post-Brexit deal over Gibraltar by Becky Morton. Ladies and gents, how are you doing? The betrayals continue. Gibraltar is the next to slip off the chessboard because we've got lunatic, authoritarian, Marxist revolutionaries who despise you, your children, your forebears, and everything about Britain and British culture and the British way of life, and they're going to do everything they can to upend the gaming table out of spite before they get turfed out unceremoniously at the next general election, okay? They're going to do as much damage as they possibly can. So I'm going to cover this story, and I'm also going to cover another one that's pertinent. Stick with me, I will segue into it quite neatly, because I want to rebut this ridiculous, stupid notion, and this one. Did you know that California used to belong to Mexico? And Arizona and New Mexico and Colorado and Utah? I see why MAGA wants to ban books and eliminate the Department of Education. We can't have the next generation learning accurate history. That's probably why we're... Yeah, we're definitely 6 months away from that. And MAGA definitely said they want to ban books and eliminate the Department of Education. Yeah, all that is factually accurate. The only element of that entire screed that's true is that California did used to belong to Mexico, yeah, and a few other places. But do you know why I'm going to talk about this alongside the Gibraltar story? For a very simple reason. A very simple, logical reason. Yeah, it's not rocket science. Gibraltar is British and California is American because of an ancient, simplistic ideal which I'm going to sum up with a modern Britishism. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Right then, the UK has agreed a post-Brexit deal over Gibraltar, and yes, you are getting stitched up once again, British taxpayers. There's Lamtron, once the fattest, sweatiest man in politics. Now he's banging the Ozempic into his intestines, so he's lost a few clem. However, unfortunately, Ozempic doesn't regrow brain cells, so while he might be slightly less portly and sweaty than the last time I seen him, he remains as thick as dehydrated whale spunk. The UK has agreed to deal with the EU over Gibraltar's status after Brexit. Talks on rules have been ongoing since the UK left the EU in 2020. The UK said the agreement would avoid the need for checks on people and goods crossing the Gibraltar-Spain border. And for travellers arriving at Gibraltar Airport, passport checks will be carried out by Gibraltar and Spanish officials. Oh yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it? That sounds good. It's not though, is it? Because Lamtron made it happen. And frankly, he's the type of bloke who'd fall into a bucket of tits and come out sucking his thumb. Of course, Spanish border officials would be able to deny entry, as it would be possible for British arrivals to continue into Spain. But you know, it's fine, because it's similar to Eurostar and St Pancras. However, Reform criticised the deal, with Richard Tice saying, once again, the Labour government has shown disregard for our territories. Another surrender. The simplistic version is this. They can deny you entry into Spain, but we can't deny Spaniards entry into Gibraltar. Oh yeah, that sounds like we've won, doesn't it? And before any lefties start whinging in the chat, let me just give you a brief history lesson. I know a lot about this because the Royal Marines cap badge, if you didn't notice, has got the words Gibraltar on it. Do you know why? Very simply, we own Gibraltar because in 1704, during the War of the Spanish Succession, we absolutely malleted the Spaniards. And they signed a treaty, the Treaty of Utrecht, in 1713, guaranteeing Britain the full and entire propriety of Gibraltar forever without any exception or impediment whatsoever. I am quoting the treaty. And this piece is from the Warfare History Network, which says, the initial taking of the Spanish bastion by the Anglo-Dutch would pale into comparison with the sustained, bloody and heroic defence of the rock by the English captors over the next 9 months. The brilliant repulses of successive Franco-Spanish forces during that and the next year would forever cast the Royal Marines as an elite and legendary military force. There you go. It's ours because we took it. That's life. If you get absolutely twatted, you don't get to set the terms, the enemy does. Which moves me neatly onto another moron, not David Lammy, a woke activist on Twitter. Ryan S. Head. Excellent name. Clearly he's missing an HIT in his name. Let's watch his pointless video, shall we?
Going back in history to the 1800s, the US was actively expanding westward. At the time, newly independent Mexico was looking to grow its economy. It began renting land to American settlers in Texas. The settlers brought slaves with them, which was completely illegal for the country. When the Mexican government tried to ban it, the settlers revolted, won the war, and declared their independence as the Republic of Texas. After 9 years, the United States annexed Texas, but President James K. Polk wanted to get his hands on California as well. He offered Mexico $20 million for the land, but was turned down. Then he sent U.S. soldiers into the disputed region on the border, knowing it would lead to conflict. The Mexican army attacked them, and Polk used this as an excuse for war against Mexico. The United States, being more powerful, won easily and forced Mexico to sell a huge amount of its territory for $15 million. In less than 20 years, Mexico lost half of its territory.
Most Americans. Yeah, if you say so. That was a fictional version of history. Very, very, very one-sided, making nuanced, complex situations sound simplistic. But essentially, yeah, the Americans malleted the Mexicans. That's what happens. And when I'm talking about facile points, well, I'll sum up briefly, okay? The USA used to be British. Ukraine used to be Russia. Greece and Hungary used to belong to the Turks. I can do this all day. Most places used to belong to somebody else, up until another group of people get a big gang together called an army and then start booting people in the bollocks, or a big navy, or whatever. It's called war. A great line from Heinlein is about morons who say things like, violence solves nothing. Go and ask Adolf and Napoleon Bonaparte, the little short-assed froggy knobhead. Go and ask him if might makes right. Violence solves everything. When the talking's done and dusted and the violence starts, someone has to win it. And that's the way the world works. This is a facile point. California's not Mexico, it's American. There's 3 options. Offer to buy it, ask nicely for it, or take it back by force. That's it. If you don't do any of those 3 things, you don't get to keep it. Frankly, as a chippy northerner, I'd be happy to go to war with Scotland if they keep on voting in communists. Yeah, and if they want to keep it, well, they best be willing to fight 50,000 Mackhams, Geordies and monkey hangers, and I know my money's on, because they don't have a skirt for the national dress, alright? I'm only kidding, jocks. You know I like you really. Well, the 40% of you that aren't communists. So, that's me, I'm done, I've shot my bolt. The Labour government are traitors and they're giving away everything on purpose because they hate you. But we took Gibraltar fair and square. It's ours, and if you want it back, try and take it. I will join back up with glee. I will have an erection outside the recruiting office at the mere thought of once again donning a uniform despite the male pattern baldness and the beer belly, and being able to bayonet some frogs and Spaniards just like the good old days. God bless it. I wouldn't even want paying for it. I'd give the government a £500 a month stipend just for the opportunity to finally face off against the frogs and the Spaniards again. I cannot wait. So come on, boys, make it happen or shut up whinging. Anyway, that's me for the day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and share it if you can be arsed. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.